Welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast, man, where I get to find successful people who built something and they can really tell you how they built it. Why? Because they actually built it, not off theory. And I'm excited because I have a real friend on the show today, somebody I've known since the baggy suit days.
Facts. 18, coming out of high school. You was what, like second year in college?
Yeah, I was only a few years older than you. How old are you now?
33.
Yeah, so I'm 35.
Yeah.
I remember you would come in there, just come in with your crew, and just as a young man, just super professional. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I've been able to really watch you do some really amazing things. So, Mr. Justin Owens, what's good, brother?
What's up, bro? How you feeling?
I'm all right, man.
Glad to be here, man.
I don't know why it took so long.
Hey, when things line up, they align.
It happens when it's supposed to happen.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So I guess for those that don't know, man, just introduce yourself.
Justin Owens. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18 in direct sales, network marketing, own a few companies, and man, my passion is just really teaching people the game of entrepreneurship. And really, my message is to show people that look like us that they can overcome the stereotypes of what a successful man, specifically African American, looks like without having, you see it, like you don't got to be the rapper, you don't got to be the athlete, you can just be entrepreneur, and you can still have a similar, if not better, lifestyle. And just really out there in this entrepreneurship game. So,
gotcha. So coming up, were you always wanting to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. And it started. My parents had a cleaning business, so that was my first introduction to it. Like, second grade, we would be cleaning buildings. I remember I was in Miss Butt's class. No, that was third grade. Miss Butt's class. I was falling asleep in class, and she was like, "What you doing?" I was like, "Man, I had to work last night." She was like,
"Hold on, what grade?"
Third. She was like, "Why? That's against the law." So I went home and told my parents, like, "Look, I ain't got to clean no more. It's against the law." Right. It was like, black parents, man, they start with the belt. Say one more thing. Get in this van. We're gonna clean these buildings. But that was the first taste of it, and then middle school, high school, I was the guy that sold candy, CDs, throwback jerseys when they was hot. So anything like in the entrepreneurial realm, that's what I really got into. And then I was going to go to school for business, and I just started asking the professors had they run the business, and none of them had. And my parents would get in the car, they're like, "So what you think?" I'm like, "Did you hear my man? Like,
right.
I ain't trying to be. I don't want to waste y'all money because if they ain't never ran a business, I don't really want to do that." And so, that just shifted me into just sales and kind of going through my own educational process. Learning business.
So did you go to college?
No.
So you interviewed the colleges. You're like, "Nah, I'm straight."
That was it, and then started doing sales.
What was the first crack at sales?
Door-to-door sales.
Right. Hold on, but first it was like the prepaid legal days, right?
Yeah, that was in high school though. I was still in high school when I did prepaid legal.
Oh, so you lied on the app?
No, because my birthday is November 18th. So the second half of high school, I was 18. So that was like January of 2005. So that's right around the time we met then.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That's been 15 years then?
15 years ago.
Wow.
15 years ago.
That's crazy.
A long journey.
That is crazy. Sheesh.
So you started that, and how long were you actively in prepaid?
6 months.
Really?
Months, yeah, 6 months. My the guy that signed us up had this concept about this juice company. I didn't know anything else existed, so he was like, "Oh, I'll tell you about this Noni thing." So we started doing Noni juice for a little while. And
who was it?
Dang, what was his name? I don't even remember, bro. It hit me doing this thing. I can't remember though.
So it wasn't Brian.
No, it was not really. It was just like a guy that signed us
up.
It was like somebody that went to my Kingdom Hall for church and stuff like that. But
so he signed you up in prepaid legal, and then you was like, "Yo, we about
moved
to do
us
this."
over. I didn't even know we were being moved. I was like, "Yo, I kind of like this prepaid thing." You know what I'm saying? And he moved us over there.
He's like, "Nah, we're not doing that no more."
And then that's where I met a little bit after that. That's where I met Robert Dean and I met Barry and all of them then. And Brian, that's where I kind of found out about him.
Brian Bean.
Brian Bean.
Shouts out to Brian Bean.
That's my guy. And then maybe a few months after that, I ran into a guy that introduced me to my initial, person that was kind of like an example, Rico. And that's kind of how I started that whole relationship, and and did pretty well in that company with Lightyear.
Did you have jobs, or it was just like network marketing?
Network marketing.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you can make money. This is what I love about the industry, man. You don't have to be necessarily a visionary that has an idea to create something.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to take on the risk of starting a business, which is super scary.
Right.
All you got to do is work.
Yeah. And
Run the play. Like, I'll like draw the play out for you.
That's it.
I'll
bro.
put everything around you, give you the field. You just got to run the play.
Yeah. And I really didn't understand how simple network marketing was until I started my own business. Because I had a call center. I ended up getting a contract with a company called Clear Wireless. I don't know if you remember that company.
What? I got my little Clear bag.
Yeah.
I got a little bag in Clear.
So that was my first time making like $70,000, $80,000 a month type of deal. And I was like, man, this is crazy. And so I took that contract and I started doing AT&T. Saw how well I did with that. So I got a contract with AT&T, Verizon, and a couple other companies. And that's when I had to get like the office. And then we had to, it was like the expenses. We turned it, we ended up doing a call center. Me and one of my partners as well. We had that for like 3.5 years. But that's when you had the office building, you got payroll, you got all these different things. Like, man, it's a lot easier to just pay a monthly fee and just go out here and work, and you don't have to spend all this extra money.
100%.
And so, but I learned a ton. Learned a ton through all of that stuff, relationships, how to work with people, how to fire people. I mean, it's a lot of things I didn't know. Like people, I used to fire them and they want to fight me. I'm like, yo, what did I do wrong? And then you start learning how to fire people to make them feel good about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah. Like,
Walk me through that.
So it's like, first of all, it's a pre-conversation. So before time, we're gonna have a conversation, Dave. How you come with your goals? I'm a little off track. Well, listen, let me ask you this, Dave. I mean, would it be fair to say in the next 2 weeks if we're not at least doing this and this is not taking care of you right now, this is probably not the best fit for you? Yeah, I feel like that. Okay, well, let's revisit it, in 2 weeks. Let's just see.
Right.
Because maybe it turns around.
Yeah.
2 weeks pass around. Hey, man, listen.
Remember that conversation we had?
We had a conversation, and I listen, I believe that you gave it all you had, last 2 weeks. Done an incredible job. But as you said, man, this just may be a stepping stone in a different direction. Yeah. And so any way I can help out, bro, recommendation, just let me know how I can help you out, and I got you, man.
Hey, I would feel good about, I feel motivated almost. Like, yes, you know what? I did give it everything I got.
Yeah, I got a couple places, maybe, it's a couple things that you could potentially do. I'll even give you some recommendations. This just may not be your style of selling.
Yeah.
And that's okay, man, because initially I didn't know my lane either. So.
Yeah, you can't fight somebody.
Yeah, you can't. But in the beginning, I'd be like, hey, man, let me step into my office. Hey, what was you doing, bro?
Right.
It's not working.
Right.
I'm gonna give you till tomorrow, see how your numbers are doing. If that don't hit, bro, it's not gonna work. And then I'm young. I already look young, but I look younger. Yeah. 7 years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like now it's like this little kid telling you what to do. Yeah. You're like, I will knock you out. You know what I'm saying? So you
growing your maturity as a leader.
Yeah, you learn all that stuff, and that's why I always had to dress like a little bit more like professional, because I was always dealing with people that was older than me and stuff. So I'm like, they got to take me serious somehow. Gotcha. But that was kind of my process, bro.
Yo, you know what, bro? Now that I think about it, I was making money in prepaid legal, and there was a conference coming up, and you recruited me out of that, bro.
Out of the conference?
Yeah, bro, you recruited me out of prepaid legal.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So we're both in, and was it for Lightyear? It was your fault, bro. I done made $100,000 in prepaid legal, fam. Yes, it was for Lightyear. So what happened was, I don't know where we were, but you invited me to Rico's house.
Yeah, I remember that.
And we were sitting there and like going through the plan or whatever, and the conference was coming up, and I was like, man, I gotta go to this. I gotta go to this convention. And Rico was like, yo, man, listen, forget that convention. You can save money. He's like, yo, I give you the money that you're gonna spend on your tickets or whatever, I get to you to get into the business.
Dang.
And he paid me to get in the business. And it lasted all of 3 weeks.
It did.
And I was on a path, bro. I was doing well.
No, you were.
Legal.
Yeah.
Yo, it's your fault, bro.
Hey, but it led you to better things.
It's your fault. I struggled. I worked at Applebee's and Olive Garden and all that. I gotta make it legal.
No, it worked though. It definitely worked.
It worked out the way it's supposed to work out.
It did work.
So with that, was that your first true mentor?
That was. Yeah. Looking back, now I say more example. You know what I'm saying? Because I learned a lot of stuff from him. But yeah, I learned a ton.
The difference between mentor and example.
Like for me, like an example of somebody like, okay, you know what, like he was the first person I saw that was my age range that showed me it was possible to make $20,000-$30,000 a month. Because he was like, I forget, maybe 22 or 23 when I met him.
Right, because you were 18 around this time.
So I'm like 18, 19. He's making 30, 40,000 a month. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like somebody looked like me. He's African American. He's winning.
He's cool.
Cool. Yeah, he was cool. You know, had the nice cars and all this. I'm like, man, okay, I can do that because the people that I saw before, you know, like the Darnell Selfs and stuff like that, they doing well, but they were just older. You know, like I got a chance to meet him recently, and it was like in a different dynamic. But it was like you saw that.
Really, you got a chance to meet him?
Yeah. We got a chance to
Yo,
sit down.
he's still like
He's a beast.
top of my list
He's
of
definitely a beast.
entrepreneurs, speakers, that like an example of taking an idea and making it stick.
Yeah,
I
and staying with
him.
it though.
Yeah,
it's like he's been there since I was in high school. Before I was in high school,
for sure.
Because he already had the story, and like it's the same joint. So I'm like, okay.
How did y'all connect?
Actually through David, Emanitier. They wanted to meet up, and I had an event in DC, and they had lunch. And Dave was like, yo, come through, and then we connected, and he's like, yo, I was like, man, I was in your group when I was in high school. You know what I'm saying? You signed my Success magazine. You don't even know it.
I would love to meet David.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to meet Darnell.
Yeah. Now I can hook it up, bro.
I found out the other maybe a couple months ago. Mike Humes commented on one of my posts. I'm like, yo, it's Mike Humes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, these guys are still like celebrities to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So y'all, you were going through the process. Lightyear, right? So yeah, those guys are kind of older. So you see Rico, and you just kind of gravitate towards him.
Yeah. Solid guy. You know, really talented. You know, I would say like I learned a lot even from like, you know, speaking, communication. Really, really solid dude. You know, and then we even did business together. You know, a couple years, and we had an incredible run, changed a lot of lives, and then it was kind of time to go a different direction. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it came down to. But what I learned from that was, you know, I learned examples of like, I think any relationship, even with people that I mentor, that you're gonna find things to do and things not to do. Yeah. And I learned a lot of things to do, but I also learned a lot of things not to do. Yeah. And like how to handle situations, how to work with people, and how to really love on people and really, you know, inspire them to do more. Yeah. I've learned that in other environments, but I also learned, you know, like I said, things to do, things not to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanna say y'all stole my idea. Do you remember we was in Arizona, right? It was at the ET conference.
Yep.
And I said, yo, I wanna do coaching. And I said that I think what I'll do is instead of like having a coaching program, I'll mentor people, but they got to sign up in this network marketing company, and I'll just teach them because I'll get my residual. Right. They'll have an opportunity to make money. Right. And y'all was like, yo, that's stupid.
No,
I promise you, bro.
We was doing the company.
He was like, you can't do it like that. You just gotta.
I gotta look at when that conference was.
I promise you, bro.
Because we launched the company in December of 2014.
December of 2014.
So that Scottsdale event had to be, maybe it was October.
No, I don't think I had the store. I don't think I had the store yet because I got the store in February of that year. No, of 2014. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know.
Yo, I remember he was like, nah, that ain't gonna work. He was like, yo, you either be all in on network marketing or you like start your own joint, like your coaching program.
Who's the that?
I think it was Rico.
Okay,
Rico.
There you go.
Because I was like, yo, this is a really good idea.
Y'all might have had one of your old conversations.
And then y'all built the company. Yeah. I was like, yo, this is what I wouldn't want my idea to do that, but yeah, that was my concept. Yeah. Because it makes sense. Like, yo, I could coach, I could mentor. I ain't got to worry about back end stuff. Right. I just recruit people into this company, and then I coach them, and I get my money from the company.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, well, you know.
It worked well.
Yeah. So how did y'all start forming your own network marketing company? Is different.
It is. It's different. It's a lot of work. I think that's why I do well in what I do now, because it's like, this is easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you got to put together the software. You got to have the merchant accounts. There's a lot of stuff that I know about network marketing companies, which a lot of people misunderstand for whatever reason, but that I know now about the business that I would have never known just being like a distributor of companies. Like merchant accounts, really big scams that people play on the back end that you have no clue that people do. And so you start learning all that stuff, and you really start understanding how to really build a business. Because back then we had to do both sides. You got to build a company, the software, the back end, the training, and all that stuff, and then go also build a business.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that was like it would be some days I'd be at the office for 3 days straight, like not even go home, and like building the company. So Yeah, bro. Yeah, it was an incredible experience. We made great money, impacted a lot of lives, but it was a platform to do bigger things. So
Yeah,
was
I want to
excited
go
about that.
through how you went, like you go from building your own company to in a company, right? So what did you feel any type of way? Did you feel like you were downgraded? Obviously you made the right decision for sure. But like did you feel like, yo, I'm going from starting my own to now I'm just in somebody else's?
Maybe for a half a second.
The ego
But,
kicks in.
Yeah, it was like a half a second. But I'm like, man, I don't care. I had to get back to like, why did I start doing this joint in the beginning anyway? It wasn't for titles. It wasn't for like, I don't care. I really don't care about a lot of that stuff. Like I think for me, it was just, all right, Justin, what can give you more freedom to do what you want to do? And then, obviously, getting a chance to, work with David closely, that was big because I was like, man, he was already at $100,000 a month. He was like, oh, bro, if you do what I show you, you'll get there. And, you fast forward now, it took me two and a half years to get where he was at when I met him. Right. And it was like, I learned a lot of things that I didn't know. I was like, what's more important, a title or like having the freedom to do what you want to do? You know what I'm saying? And that I just made a choice, but is something that some people don't have, I think, and some people even in that transition didn't do it because it was a downgrade of position. Yeah. But it was an increase in lifestyle. Yeah, for sure. And freedom, and that's really what I was looking for.
Yeah. I want to get into and if you don't mind, because I don't want to. I think there's some principles and lessons in your journey of like how you had a partnership, and then the partnership didn't work out, right? So if I ever have a chance to interview Dame Dash, I want to know how we have this partnership, everything's going great, and then it splits, right? So what happened throughout the process? Because now you're going through like some legal stuff,
yeah, it's
right?
been going on for 3 years. Yeah.
So when you started the company, what were the things that maybe you wish you had it done, or what did you do right in terms of paperwork, structure, all that stuff?
Yeah, I think it's some things we did right, and that was, the structure was there, the paperwork was there. I was a guy that I didn't really try to get into the numbers too much. Like it was almost like, like your t-shirt say blind faith. I just trusted, you know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, cool, everything right, no problem. I don't need to look at the numbers. I know it's a new company. I from starting my call center, I knew how things work. So I don't really got to look at the numbers. I know we got to build this thing up. But what happened was, and I can't go into too much, obviously, like a legal situation right now, but there was a point where I was like, yo, now I really need to look at these numbers. I need to see what's going on. But because I hadn't been looking at them all the time, which I had the right to do, now it became like, why you need to look at them now? What you trying to say? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, instead of me just being like, no, let's just have open dialogue the entire time. Yeah. I'm not even, I would never do any business. We're going to have just open dialogue about numbers from the very beginning. Because that way, anytime I have to go into it, it's not a dialogue that has now becomes a problem. Right. But I think
did you guys discuss like equity positions and stuff like that?
We went over stuff with like the accountant, but it's like, you got like top level numbers and you got like the numbers. It'll be like,
explain the difference.
Like, okay, you got like, okay, travel expenses, this. Okay, but what's in that though? Let me see the line items that's made up of, and it's things you find out.
Gotcha. So you see travel expenses, $5,000, but we don't know what's in the $5,000. Right. And then that's a big word, travel.
Yeah. And then you look in, telecommunications, and you say, oh, what, man? Okay. I didn't know we was doing the home internet in the joint too. You know what I'm saying? So, but when you're just looking at internet, you're not looking at like, okay, what does this really consist of? So I started really looking at like, okay, but here's what I would tell you. I didn't start looking at it to it was like there was a situation where it was like, Justin, we need to look at all this stuff. We need to see all this. I'm like, well, shoot, you check me, I gotta check you. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's when I just found some things I wasn't really comfortable with. And
so there was a point where you needed some verification, or there was like a trust issue. Yeah.
It was. I think most of the times in business, it's not the outside world that breaks a company down. Sometimes it is, but a lot of times it's internal. With teams, organizations, like you look at a lot of organizations, a lot of the breakdowns are internal. Yeah. The Lakers could have won a lot of championships. What happened? Shaq and Kobe. Yeah. It was an internal breakdown. And so the toughest thing is to keep a team together. And it's easy when there's no money.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest time. But when success starts coming, money starts coming, and then people, sometimes they lose it. Like they just kind of forget, like, yo, how do we really get here? And I think that was, that could have been some of it. I think for me, what I learned through that process was I had a chip on my shoulder. I think I still do to an extent of like that process. Cause when I made the decision to leave, it was like, yo, Justin can't do this. He don't know how to build no business. He ain't gonna, and I wore that on me for a while. But I went to a Bob Proctor event, and one of the things he said there was to send love to 3 people a day that bother you. And I was like, listen, I do anything but I ain't about to send no love to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in a lawsuit. I'm not trying to send no love. I was doing all the work. I was doing the same stuff. It was literally, I had to let go of and really forgive a past situation. Like now I can talk about, I feel nothing. 2 years ago, I probably would have still been a little heated. I wasn't talking about it to nobody, but it was inside. It was the inside. And that's why I tell a lot of people, it's not just the hard work that's required, but it's the heart work. Yeah. And if your heart isn't right when you're building and doing things, then things still won't turn out right. And so when I literally forgave that situation, I'm like, you know what? I really do wish you the best. Like now I genuinely, like I don't want nobody to fail, or because there's also people that's connected to them. So it's like, if I want you to fail, then now I'm affecting this person, that person's family. And that to me wasn't the greater win. And when I matured to that point, literally that year, I went from January 10,000 a month, by October 100,000 a month. Just with that shit. I mean, I was doing the same stuff though, bro. Traveling, presentations, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, yo, if I'd have let this joint go 2 years ago, where would I be? Yeah. So that was a learning lesson for me to really just kind of let go of the past. You gather your lessons. I learned a lot through that, bro. Like we had some younger people that were in the business with us, and it's like sometimes you try to force people to do things and make them who they're not. Yeah. And you don't have to. Like let people be them. For sure. Like I have people like now in my business, I got doctors, I got attorneys, I got professionals, I got kids in college, and it's like, yo, I just learned how to, interact with everybody. Like a couple years ago, you wouldn't saw me, hoodie and stuff like that. But I've learned to adapt to, my environment instead of trying to make people Justin and trying to make, hey, I wear a suit, you gotta wear a suit. Right. Well, that's not necessarily
I was actually gonna dress up today because I just knew you was coming like clean.
I was like, okay, I see the podcast, everybody else be fresh with it, so I was like, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna come in with some gear. No.
So in that situation, obviously, and the only reason I'm getting into it is because there are lessons here, and I have partnerships, right? And I think there are some people that's watching this now, and they might be in partnerships, and something's there that maybe isn't talked about, and nobody's attacking an elephant in the room. Right. So I kind of want to know, because you don't just say, okay, I don't trust you, you don't trust me, I'm out on the company. What are some of the other things that came about that kind of caused the demise? Because y'all was like peanut butter and jelly, bro.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is, we never have ever had a disagreement other than that one. Like I'm talking about from the time I was 18 to the time I left. We only had one disagreement, but the type of disagreement it was to me it was when I can't rock.
Hold on, great relationship for a decade or more, right? And then somebody wants to they want to check some things that you were doing. You want to check some things that they were doing, and then that ends it.
No, it was more, but. I don't wait till this lawsuit over with to really get into the details. But it was more of like it was more of like just lack of trust. And I think when you lose the trust, then it's hard to really build a business with somebody you don't trust.
Because then there's always that weird.
Because now you're always looking like it's like you lose the remote at the house and you can't find it. And you asking everybody. And you like side eye like I know you probably sitting on just stand up, bro.
You always got the remote, yo. I know you had it.
Stand up, bro. Right? And then you stand up, be like, okay, I believe you now. And but if you never uncover that, you're always I'm gonna look at everything you do that way. And for me, it was like, you know what? I just sent him a letter. I was like, yo, because I actually it was something that actually got brought to me by somebody else. And I'm the type of person, I'm not going to take it just off of what somebody said. I'm not going to change it. But I felt some kind of way. Right. So I just asked him. I was like, yo, bro, is this true? And he was like, yeah. But let me tell you why. I was like, I don't need to know why. And that was that. And that night, came home, wrote my resignation letter. I'm like, I'm out. At that time, I didn't even know what I was going to do yet.
Whatever that thing is must have been deep, like with no explanation.
No, it was. I didn't even need the explanation. And certain stuff, it was like, yo, you was about to stab me in my back? Yeah, but let me tell you why. Like, I don't really need to know why you was about to stab me in my back. It's the fact that you even thought about doing it. Yeah. I can't rock with you. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I think we both learned some things in that exchange. You know, genuinely, because relationships is key to business.
Absolutely.
And I had this funny. I got a post that I'm gonna be posting a little later on today, but it was talking about like we've all read the book Think and Grow Rich, where it talks about the general or the captain that like burnt the ships. I don't remember he burned the ships and don't go back. And I'm like, I get that philosophy, but some people really they doing that with relationships. And I'm like, entrepreneurship is a long game. Yeah. Like 100%. We said, we've known each other since we was like, in an early teen. I was 18, you were 20. Yeah. Imagine if we did some cricket stuff to each other back then. Even to this day, you still wouldn't rock with me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So now, what if I'm burning bridges? Not just one, but multiple bridges, not just opportunities and moving on, but like literally burning relationships, short-term thinking. And now you 40 and you own this big company down here, and this new guy coming in, he's looking for an opportunity, and you see the name on the resume, I'm like, oh no. Wow. Because when I was 23, I don't mess with that dude. So I've just learned to like, you really gotta mature with relationships, and you gotta learn how to think long term. And so yes, can you burn your ships so that you're like, hey, if it's like, hey, I'm not gonna be at this job or no more, but like there's certain relationships, I think you gotta do what you can to keep them intact. And there's certain ones that do have to go. Yeah. If they gotta go, they gotta go. It is what it is. But I think right now I've seen a lot of people in business that they just burn relationships almost for no reason. I'm like, are you thinking like
right? What do you see? What are some of the reasons you see people burn relationships? Especially in the industry of entrepreneurship, whether it's network marketing or just trying to get to the next level.
Money, ego. I think a lot of it's ego and pride. Some people secretly compete with other people, there's some people, man. I've dealt with people, bro, that they'll only support you if there's a financial benefit in it for them. Right. And I tell people there's a difference between commissionships and relationships. There's some people that are only in a relationship with you because they make money off of you. Hey, if I make a commission off of you, we cool. If not, we're not. And I've learned you've got to have like relationships because I'm in network marketing, but there's other ways that I make money. And there's relationships that didn't work in this industry that have worked in other places. Yeah. But if I was so shallow-minded to think, oh, well, we're not doing the same thing, or this is not the right season for you for this, but it could be for something else, I would miss out on a lot of opportunities. So I think not really understanding the long-term game. I think a lot of people, I think all of us, we would go back and do things differently. But yeah, I think ego has to do a lot with it for a lot of people. Just not. Some people want to be in places and they don't necessarily want to do the work for it, or this something else may seem a little easier. Yeah, for sure. And then they burn a relationship, and then it's like, oh, well, they don't want me to do this. That's what I'm doing. It's like, yo, you really tripping, because this stuff, it lasts a long time. We see it all the time, even with presidential candidates. What do? They go back. They don't do what you're doing right now. Hey, in 1993, this is what he did, because it's on. Now they got it. You know what I'm saying? They got the video, they got the post or whatever, and it's like you gotta really be smart with it. But for me, just learning how to move forward without burning bridges as much as possible, and sending people off with love, almost like I was saying, like learning how to fire people and still have a good relationship. You gotta learn how to move on and still, have a good relationship if possible. I even sent, even with that situation, I sent text messages and stuff like that just to be like, yo, I'm good. And now I'm not even saying we gotta work together ever, because I'm not saying that, but I just want you to know, if I see you, I'm good. Right. I wish you the best, you know what I'm saying? And I think
however you take that information,
and even to this day, like I still say, like, super talented guy, very smart, but all of us have things that we have to work on. And for me, that was the thing. And I'll tell you this too, Dave, this is the first thing I ever really kind of did by myself. Everything, like, my sales company, well, I did that by myself, but that was like different. That was kind of like, like sales is a different game because you can make money like completely by yourself. For sure. But this is like my first move. I'm like, okay, I don't really got no partner. I ain't got nobody that I'm really rocking with. Like, it's either Justin, you could do this or you can't. Yeah. And, it wasn't like people just rock with me because of who I was. They was like, okay, bro, you're going to have to prove it. Yeah. And so it was it was a scary but exciting feeling at the same time, and it's also been the most rewarding. So, you know, it's like that cliche thing, like, you know, your success is, you know, outside of your comfort zone. Yeah. And I was definitely uncomfortable. I was like, yo, I had a guaranteed check. Now I'm out here like, man, I got to
figure it out.
I got to do it all over again.
And in your industry, you've been, for one, just congratulations on, I mean, reaching a 6-figure monthly income. That's huge. And starting from you, it's one person. And for those that don't know how it works, it's like I take part in the opportunity, and then I have to go out and make other people successful. And the more successful those other people are that I create, the more successful I'll become. So starting with one to talking to somebody, say, yo, just partner with me. Like, we can go make some money together. And you got to go do that over and over again. And now your organization is how many people?
Almost 15,000. Almost
15,000 people from one person. Active. So what are some of the relationship tips or leadership? Because I think in network marketing, you'll find the best leaders in that industry. Because, I mean, it's me. I got a couple of people I work with. I mean, it's my partner, Jen.
Right.
Giovanni kind of runs this joint. My partners, I can manage a few people. But you have to kind of duplicate what you do over and over again.
Right.
So, like, what are some principles when you start building out your team that you try to pass down?
Yeah, I think one of them is most people don't really know how to be leaders, because leadership is not like, you know, you heard the cliche thing, like everybody's born a leader, which I guess to an extent everybody is, but most of us don't have good examples.
Is everybody born a leader?
That's why I say it's cliche. I think everybody has the ability to lead. In what area of their life? I think everybody can lead in an area of their life.
Something for sure.
But it may not be entrepreneurship, but you know, at the house, they may be, you know, it just depends on what environment you put them in. I've seen people that's like super timid, but you start talking about light setup, they jump out there, let me show you how to do it. No, you're doing that wrong. So everybody has the ability to lead. It's just they got to get into that environment where they feel comfortable leading. But I think a lot of people have bad examples of leadership, and so a lot of people, what they think leadership is, what they see in corporate America. Like, I want to get to a point where I can tell everybody else what to do. And so one of the things I teach my leaders is that leadership is not a step up, it's a step down. Because you think it's stepping up to tell people more what to do, and it's really a step down because now you got to serve more. I got to take way more phone calls. I got to take 3-way calls. I got to travel more. I have to serve way more people than I did when I was making $5,000 a month. But it's this flip of like, oh, I can't wait to get up there and speak and to have this light. No, well, everybody understands once you get there, the light not supposed to be on you anyway. You're supposed to shine on other people. So it's this faulty leadership mentality that people develop, and until they understand, yo, I have to learn really how to do this the right way, that it's really tough for them to win. And some people have like it's like there's a leadership style. It's almost like a hero leadership, like all the lights on one person, everything's on that person, that individual, and some people thrive off of that. I was like, nah, I don't need that, bro.
Man, you know, I finally see it, I think. Yeah. I mean, if you are, because whatever you do, like, duplicates, right? So if you're going out there and serving people, the people that you serve will feel like they have to serve other people, right? And then you just got this whole organization of everybody serving each other and growing in that way. But if you sit back and tell people what to do, the person you're telling what to do might feel like they have to just tell people what to do. Right. And that can't last.
Yeah. So I don't even tell people what to do, bro. I give them a blueprint that was given to me, right? And then I just go do. Yeah. I don't tell people to go travel. I just go travel. Yeah. I don't tell people they got to do all that. No, this is what I'm doing. And like, anytime somebody asks me, I'm like, I can't tell you what you need to do. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. Yeah. And so, you know, Jesus Christ is a great example. Like, it's just like, you just got to be an example of what people should do. And if you're an example long enough, eventually people will do it. What throws people off in any type of business, people do it for a period of time that they feel like it's been long enough. Right. It's like, why y'all not doing this yet? I'm showing y'all what you need. No, keep showing them. Keep showing them all the way until you, and even me, there's another level. You know, it's like you can't get to a point where you feel like, oh, okay, I've arrived. I don't have to do the things. No, you still got to do it. And so if that was really one of my big takeaways. You know, we got a saying that, you know, you keep God at the center and you love people. And if you do those things, it's not a guarantee that you're going to win, but you will win. Because I've understood that people don't have to win with me. I just want them to win. And some people, they just want you to only win with them, hide their winning. It's like, no, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But you should develop your leadership skills. And then the other thing is, I think you got to create an environment of belief where people start believing they can win. That's the toughest thing in this industry. Is it's not that people don't think people can make the $1 million a month. It's they don't see enough other people winning that they're like, man, that's not. Yeah, I know it can happen, but is it gonna happen for me?
Yeah.
And so what we start doing is making an environment of people like, yo, man, that just happened to my friend. He started with me.
Yeah.
He making $5,000 a month. He's making $10,000 a month. I know I can do this.
Yeah.
And so you create that environment, and then you teach them the leadership skills. That gives you a winning potential for a lot of people to have success.
Yeah.
So
and over all these people that you personally introduced or help your people that you introduce, what do you think one of the crucial pieces of failure is? Like, what is that thing that you've seen thousands of people come and go, right? What do you think what are some of the common threads between people who just don't stick it out?
It's a couple of things. One, what people listen to. I tell people, whatever you tune into, you turn into. Whatever entertains you, trains you. So, like, some people, it'll happen at the beginning. Some people, it'll happen later. I've seen it happen, at 6 figures, where a person will start listening to people and things they didn't used to listen to. And I'm like, why you start listening to that now? Like, because as a leader, either you rub off on your organization or they rub off on you.
Give me an example of like a real life example of.
Like, you can have a person that's like winning, making money, and then like you have a new person that comes to your business that you feel like has superstar potential, and they're like, oh, I mean, this is good, man, but what we really need to do is we need to do this, and they're doing it like this, you need to do it like this, and you'll start listening to somebody that hadn't done anything.
Right.
And they're trying to tell you what needs to be corrected. So what I learned to do is I say, look, okay, cool. Hey, bro, yeah, try that out. Let's do that with your group. And if it works well, we'll do it with everybody else.
Yeah.
What I used to do is I'll be listening because I think just because they're sharp.
Yeah.
But they don't know how to build this.
Right.
So I would let those kind of people come in. I give them all this, and I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Okay, you try that over there with your little circle of people.
Right.
But people start doing that even in the business. They start listening to people in their life. They can throw them off track. I think the other thing is just time. I did a training with my group, and I asked them, how long does it take for an apple tree to grow? And they're like, a year. 2 years, 3 years. No, I don't remember the exact number. I think it's 6 or 7 years. We have to look it up after this.
Yep.
But here's what happens. If I didn't know it took 6 or 7 years for an apple tree to grow, if I plant a seed and I look a year later, it's not growing.
So
I'm like, yo, what's up?
Broken. The seed is broken.
The soil's messed up. Let me plant it over here. So now I dig it up. Now when I dig it up, what happened? I start the whole process over. So I put it over here. Now I start. All right, yo, what's going on? But if I would have known that it takes 6 or 7 years for it to grow anyway, I gotta let it sit. I gotta take care of it. I gotta, do all that kind of stuff to let it give itself time to grow.
Yeah.
But so here's the question. If people don't know how long it takes for an apple tree to grow, they also don't know how long it takes for them to be successful. Why? Because they've never been successful. So what they start doing is, man, I've been doing this for 6 months. I should have already been successful right now. Why do you say that? Who told you you should be successful?
Right.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows their time. So what happens is people start making these estimations of how long they've been doing it and what should have happened by now, whatever should have already done. So they start looking at time and they become impatient. So then they want to go do something else and then that's where the inconsistency stops. So I tell people, like, you got to just stay consistent, and your time will come eventually. But while you're doing that, make sure you know the skills.
Yeah.
Because do you know the skills of building a business? Do you know how to attract people? Do you know how to retain people? Like, if you haven't really learned those skills, how to promote events, how to run events, there's so many things you really got to learn in my business. I'm like, yo, if you don't know that, how could you feel like you do deserve to get it? And the thing is this, that even with the apple tree, just because you don't see it coming out of the ground don't mean it's not some stuff happening down below.
Yeah.
And so you can mess up this entire process because you're looking at other things, and people, like, you heard the saying that grass is green on the other side, but there's dirt there too.
Yeah.
And so when people start, you're like, yo, you looking at all this stuff, but you actually had something that was good. And once the apple tree really grow, bro, it'll take care of a family for generations. It ain't just a one season thing. And that's where the development process comes, in my opinion, because once you really know how to do it, like, I feel good about this process in my business because I actually know what I did.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't no, like, hey, Justin, here's 5,000 people, just manage them. Like, no. I know the presentations I did. I know what the work I had to do. I know what environment I had to create. And when you do that, just like growing that tree, now you're like, okay, well, I know how to grow a tree. So if we want to, have an orchard, I'm planting a lot of seeds. I know how to take care of it. But in 6 or 7 years, we'll have hundreds of trees that are not growing. And I understand how to do it because I did it one time.
Yeah. So give me an example of like development, maybe something that you really struggled with and what you did and what were the results. You know what I mean? Just being able to document development. You feel me? So like, for instance, I tell the story often that I used to drink until I realized my pattern that the next day I feel terrible and I'm just not productive. Like and here's the thing, and maybe it's just my body because I can have 2 or 3 drinks and it's not overdoing it. It's just that next day I'm just dragging, and it was just one of those things that I had to really sit back and make a decision. Do I want to have those nights out with my friends and cost me a whole day of production? Because at this point, I'm trying to build a business. I'm trying to do it. Yeah. And I just had to notice the pattern. So I had to make a conscious reminder of what am I going to do tomorrow? That was my whole thing. I got to identify what I'm going to do tomorrow. Yep. And if I have my dates planned out for tomorrow, it truly dictates what I do the night before. Right. So that was my thing of, one, just understanding the pattern. But what are some things that you may have struggled with, and what did you do, and what was the result?
Yeah, I would say, and I'm gonna answer this, but I'm gonna say something before I answer it.
Please.
One of my skills, I think that I have, which is really good, is like I'm a really good mentee. And I actually just did a training about this a couple weeks ago. But a lot of people seek to have a good mentor, but they're not really a good mentee. And so if you don't learn how to become a good mentee, then you miss a lot of lessons.
Right.
And so one of the things I had to unlearn, because I was under a new mentor, right, were some of the things I learned from a previous situation. But because I was a good mentee, I'm like, okay, there's a way to get to 6 figures a month, and I got to learn how to do that. And so one of them was like how to encourage people. Like my there was a previous leadership style. I was like, yo, Dave, you gonna get it or not, bro? Like, you want this or not? Because you know what? If you ain't gonna do it, I can do it without you. And that actually moves some people, depending on their personality type, but then it throws most people off.
Yeah.
People like, bro, who are you talking to? Or people like, I'm not even trying to compete with you, bro. Like, I'm just trying to learn how to do this. Right. But if that's the only way I communicate and talk to people, so I had to learn, I have to learn how to be an example, because my voice goes further if I'm not even telling you. I'm just like, yo, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
And so I learned that from my mentor over here, and it's like, yo, if I just do the things the right way consistently instead of trying to tell people, I'll go much further. So like, I really had to bust my butt, and I'm like, I'm pretty good at what I do. And I was like, I was working, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's the thing I was just talking about, like working it and not seeing the progress. Like the year before, I was at 10,000 a month the entire year. Then I come into last year. And I'm like, yo, I'm about to do the same stuff. But I looked at my calendar. I looked at some things and that was one thing I learned, like really having a calendar of activity. And I looked at all the soft spots in my calendar from the last year. I was like, yo, I really kind of took off in the summer last year. I didn't realize it going through the year, but when I looked at my calendar, I was like, I really didn't do nothing June, July, August. I was just kind of chilling. So all the spots I had dead spots in the year before, I said, okay, I'm going to go heavy. I went to the Bob Proctor event, right? I invested the money into going to that event. And I took away that one lesson. All right, cool. I'm gonna let it go. I done spent $1,000. I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna be here. And then I went to work. And then it was the same year, but now the results 10 times themselves. Yeah. So that for me was kind of one of the things I didn't really know how to do. Like, yo, how do I motivate people to do this stuff? And it's like, yo, you don't really have to motivate them. You're just trying to find the right ones that are motivated and run with them. And I stopped trying to force people. I used to have this thing where, because you my friend and you sharp and you can speak well, I want you to win.
Right.
But they could be this person that's just really got the heart and they're really doing the stuff, but I've been ignoring them because I've been focusing on you. Yeah. And it's, you know what I'm saying. But it's like, 100%. And that's what I used to do in the business. Like, oh man, this person's a doctor, they're about to kill. oh, I got this celebrity. I'm like, you know what? I've been doing this for a long time. I ain't seen a celebrity bust a grape yet.
Right.
Why am I happy about it? Motivational speakers come in. They don't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I all excited about, you know what? I need to get excited about people like me. Like people that's just like, you know what? I want it. And when I started doing that, I started putting my attention on the right people and really developing them, working with them, spending time with them, and like, yo, I'm gonna really show you everything that I know. And you start doing that enough, then they like, yo, okay, it's working for me. You gotta prove what you're doing works.
Yeah.
And so that's why, like, you know, people ask like, what's the run to play? And it, like, cause it's not even a team name, it's just a mantra. Cause people used to ask us, bro, what do you do? What do you do? Bro, I just ran to play. It's a simple thing. You just run this joint and you get the results.
Right.
But you don't run it for 90 days. You don't run it I run it all the time.
Right. Never.
So.
What is this play? What is the run? Because I see the play. I see the jacket. I see the chain.
Yeah.
What is run the play? Is there like a formula, steps? Like,
No, it's really being teachable and coachable to what the play is at that moment. You know, so like, you know, there's sometimes me like, you know, he's like, hey Justin, let's put on an event or let's do this. And I tell people you gotta run the play, not question it. So like in football, it's not just one play. It's multiple plays. Like, hey, this time you blocking. Like I'm blocking? Yeah.
you gotta learn the play.
Yeah,
right?
you gotta learn it, right?
Right.
And it's like, okay, I gotta block this time, but I really wanna go get this touchdown. Yeah, but this ain't your time to get the touchdown. Like inside of an organization, everybody has a role to play. And if everybody plays their role, then the whole entire organization can win. So it's that aspect of it. Like first you gotta learn to play, right? And then you gotta learn how to run it effectively and get coaching throughout the process. So whether that's doing presentation, whether that's promoting events, that was another thing I learned too, because in my previous company, I didn't really like it. Like events was almost like a money thing. And it was like, yeah, I just kind of got burnt out with events. It was like, you charging people all this money.
Oh, because the goal is to make money.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, and that's not my heart. Like, I love the training piece of it, and I know how to do that really well. I got to do a whole weekend training like the back of my head. But I was like, man, I don't really like doing that joint. And so when I came over to this company in this environment, I didn't really want to promote events because of my last exposure to events. And it was like, no, that ain't it.
That.
This is why we do it.
This,
like I've done events, bro, where I lose money.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I got an event in Miami. I got a nice house I rented. Then I got a yacht that holds like 300 people. We doing, and I pay for the whole joint. And I'm like, back in the day, I'd have been like, okay, 75.
Am I gonna get my money back?
Like, and not only can I make my money back, can I make something? Can I make a couple dollars? You know what I'm saying? Now I'm like, y'all just come. Because I realize the point of the event ain't about making money. I'll make money from the event, but not from the event.
So that's more serving on a higher level.
It's just a whole different mindset. Wow. Yeah. So it's learning how to move people. And so like running a play is like, there's been times I've been like, that I may be like, I don't know about that, but I'm gonna run it anyway. And I know there's some people, they be like, I don't know about that, and they don't run it. Yeah. They do something else. And it's, one of my leaders, Brittany, she said this best. If you're a player with the Lakers or you're players with Miami, it don't matter. All of them have a playbook. Yeah. But you can't come from Miami and come to LA and try to run Miami playbook in LA. It's not that the Miami one is different, better or worse. It's just every organization, every team has a play to run. Yeah. And if you're gonna be successful in that environment, you have to be the best at executing that play. Yeah. And if not, then you gotta go find a play that you think works for you. Yeah. So run the play is like a mantra of like just being teachable and coachable. Have your mentor tells you do this, go run it. Because they're not gonna tell you to do something that's not for your benefit. And what I did was I literally ran the play. Yeah. He said, Justin, do the presentation 4 to 6 times a week. I did it. I didn't say why, or is there an easy way to do it? What if no? I just did it. Yeah. So what have you learned? Because we had David on the show, man, and his belief is through the roof. Oh yeah, on a whole nother level. Like he's just one of those people that if he has in his mind that he can fly, like without a plane, like fly. Yeah. He's going to, like, his belief, I feel like his belief level is so he'll start elevating at some point, right? Yeah, no, for sure. And what have you learned working so closely with someone I believe will be one of the greatest
businessmen, I believe, of our time. What have you learned from them?
Just that belief, like having a high level of belief, and really how to create it. You know, like again, run the play. He said, you know, like you probably heard about him on audios. Hey, how your
Don't
gold
tell
card?
me you got the check.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't tell me you got the check.
No, but I got the gold card. I got the gold card right here. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Got the dollar here, like rolled out. So it's like all the stuff.
Can I see it?
Yeah.
It's all right.
I got my next goal in here, so I'm on an airplane. I got my goal, so I put it up on my seat. So it's like all the things I heard him say. He didn't even have to say it directly to me, but he said it. Bro, it's funny. It even got crazy, like in my, not the last S-Class, but the S-Class before that. I was going to the tire place, and, you know, like, you know, you got the images in the car of your next car. And the guy was like, something happened, and the sticky stuff fell off in the car, and I just put the pictures in the trunk. And I got the tires done, and the guy like, you changed your mind about your Bentley? I was like, no, why you say that? He's like, because the picture used to be up everywhere. They're not up no more in the car. I was like, nah, bro, but I put them right back up there because like it got to a point where other people started like, yo, so you still serious about this thing? You walk in my house, I got images everywhere, pictures everywhere.
Wow.
And so, but that's stuff that, bro, probably 100,000 people have heard it, but do they do it?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Right.
They've heard him say, hey, you got your car, your gold card. Do we do it? Nah. Because when I listened to it, what I got from it, when I first heard his audio, because that's how I met David, through a CD. And I would just, every time he came in town, I'd buy him lunch. And we built a good relationship. Like that was 7 years ago now, 6 years ago now, just building that relationship. And in the audio that I heard, he was like, yo, I had a Louis Vuitton card with my goals wrote on it. So you know what I said? Yo, man, where you get that Louis Vuitton card from? He was like, it's not about the Louis Vuitton card. You just need a card, bro. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, but
I want the Louis.
I want the Louis Vuitton because it just sound better.
Right.
But now, like that, I realized that was an area of not being teachable and coachable. I want to run and play. Yo, just get it in there. It ain't even about the card. It's about you seeing it all the time. Yeah. It increases that belief. And so that's some of the things we've learned to do inside of the environment where people believe better. So like you go in my house right now, my pillows have my next goal on it. Before I had this watch, I had an Apple Watch that had this watch on it. So every time I looked at my Apple Watch,
I love it.
I saw the watch that I was getting. And so I started like learning how to do things that he was doing my own way and applying it to my life. And then we start teaching people the same way to do it. So creating that belief and how to do it consistently and not stopping. Like, you know, I see him doing it. Like, you know, first it was, you know, $1 million a month. Now it's $1 million a day. And, you know, last week he just had $1 million a day trading Bitcoin. I'm like, yep, boom, perfect. It's working. So it's just like
$1 million a day trading Bitcoin.
Yeah. So like when you start seeing this stuff, you're like, oh, well, why can't I do it? Like I don't have to write down $1 million a day now, but I'm like, okay, cool, 100,000 a week. That's what we going for right now. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm doing it a month. I'll just keep growing it. But now that I know how to do it, I know how to do it consistently. Yeah. And not get thrown off by time. Yeah. Not get thrown off by the, you know, people coming or people leaving or people staying. I don't none of that matter. Yeah. What matters is my belief level and my activity while I'm going to do it.
That's dope. And that's a great lessons from someone really successful. Mm-hmm. Now I'd like you to give me something that you've learned from someone that isn't successful. Like one of the most powerful points you've ever learned from someone unsuccessful. I'll tell you mine while you think about it.
Yeah, let me think about that.
It was me, I think my man Kaz, and somebody else was there. We were downtown on Peter Street. Dante Robinson. So we were downtown on Peter Street, and a homeless guy comes up, and he says, hey, I don't mean to bother you, gentlemen, but you think you have any change to spare? Mm-hmm. Really well-spoken guy. And I'm like, sure, I got a couple of dollars. But he was so well-spoken, almost like the first word that come to mind is like scholar. Like, yo, you could tell this guy's well-educated. And he said, you have any change to spare? I say, sure, but I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be offensive, but how did you get to this position? Because I know, like, you've been educated somehow. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, no problem. I'll tell you the story. And long story short, he said, I wound up losing everything behind, an addiction. And he said, what happened was I had a really good job, beautiful house, beautiful family. And the guys in the office, they would go out on the weekends or after work and hang out. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. But one time he said, okay, I'm going to come this time. He said he goes and he sees them doing all kind of crazy stuff, all kind of drugs, and it's happening, going down. And he offered to him, and he's like, "No, I'm good. That ain't my speed." But he kept hanging out with the guys, right? And I keep getting offered. He's like, "No, I'm straight. I'm going home after this. I just came to kick it." But one time they offered and he tried it, and it wasn't that bad. And you just go home, go to work next day. Next time he goes out, guess what happens? He gets offered again. And now you're a part of this, right? And he said, what happened was maybe the addiction didn't hit me. I mean, maybe it didn't hit them the way it hit me, because I really became addicted. And like, I'm getting high at work and all that kind of stuff.
Dang.
And he said he wound up, something happened, he lost his job. And, losing his job, it put a lot of stress on his family, and his family left him because he still got this addiction, and his family knows now, so they leave. And he said, I wound up here.
Wow.
One of the most important lessons I've ever learned in my life is your environment is so powerful that you're one step closer to becoming it. Like, and I mean, for a while, I stopped hanging out with some of my friends going to the club, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with hanging out with your friends, but I made a declaration that I wasn't going to drink anymore, but every time I'm with my friends, they're drinking, so it becomes harder and harder. And I said, one day I'm going to become it.
Yeah.
One of the most powerful lessons you drift. Yeah. And then I read the book, you know what I mean, Outwitting the Devil.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the major points are the drifters. They just go along. So I'm like, I don't care how strong my mindset is. Being in that environment, you eventually drift in that particular direction.
Yeah. That happened to Solomon in the Bible too. He was like, he probably thought I'm wise. He's wise. Yeah. They not gonna throw me off. And they say, my man out there praying with him. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And one thing I would say with that is like, that's why even now in business, like people say stuff and they do stuff and operate different ways. And I'm just like, man, life is already tough. I don't need to add any more problems to it. You know what I'm saying? Because like even like a simple smoke addiction, like you could add another problem on your life and your life already tough. There's no need to make it tougher. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good question, bro. I was thinking because my philosophy is I really don't listen to people that don't really have the results, that I want. But you can learn lessons.
For sure.
I've learned lessons from people that thought that they had made it big, and then you realize that they really hadn't. And what I would say is like, I think one of them is like just how to be responsible with money. And it's just I'll tell people now, like sometimes you can have broke thoughts that still slip in. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like I have friends.
Broke thoughts that still slip in.
Give you an example. Like I have friends that like you'll go out, they get nice outfits, but they keep the tags on because they got to take it back. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Because like you're really telling yourself like I don't like this ain't really for me. Like I'm operating in a negative way, and there's a lot of people that in their life I've seen them like that's why I see why you have challenges, because you operate. You're still trying to cheat the process.
Yeah, for sure.
Like either you can get it or you can't. Either you can afford it or you can't. And I would be trying to figure out, okay, how can I get that, but for 75% off the price? Then I go out my mentor and he'd be like, yeah, let me get 3 of those. I'm like, dang.
You gonna negotiate or nothing?
So no, you don't. I used to be like online if I buy some discount code, and I'm not saying that it's wrong to be conservative and use your money wisely, but there's also a thought process of like, sometimes you just pay the price. It just is what it is. Like, when I got the Rolex, it wasn't nothing, like you go to the Bentley dealership, just like, do you want this or not?
Right.
I told the guy, I was like, well, I saw some online, another place, a different price. He's like, well, you may want to go there. Like, well,
got you together.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, okay, you know what? I've learned there's a certain place that you just can't negotiate your situation. Yeah. As far as like failures, I really would have to think about that, bro. Like, who do I know that's like really failed? It'll probably hit me when I get in the car too, but I've just learned not to really listen to people that don't have the results, because I don't even want to plant the seed into my head.
For sure.
I had a lady that came up to me at an event, it was probably like 2 years ago, and it was not a business event, it was just like an outside event. And she was like, do you remember me? I was like, I'm trying to. She was like, I was at a presentation you did a couple months ago. I was like, okay, what's up? Did you get started? She's like, nah. I was like, oh, girl, I don't remember no no's. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not trying to be
Remember
rude.
the person that said no?
Like, why? I'm not being rude, but I've just trained myself. I can't even pay attention to the no's. I can't pay attention to the negativity because for me, that can make me drift. Like, there was a time, bro, in network marketing, I knew every company, every compensation plan, I knew everything about every company. And I still wasn't getting results. Over here, I know nothing about no company. This company just popped in like, Justin, you know about this? No clue. What's that? No idea. And even now, when I hear the name, I don't go look them up. I'm like, I don't even need to know.
Right.
It's not even none of my business. I'm gonna just focus on what I'm doing. And when I took that approach, I just started having more success. So now I don't even pay attention to nothing else until it's time.
Wow. You were really into sales your whole career, like from a young man, right? What are some tips you can give us in terms of getting the sale done? I have a product, I have a service. I'm trying to sell someone on something. What are some like takeaways that I can?
First thing, I think you got to sell yourself on it. There's a lot of people that they haven't really sold themselves on their product or the value of it. Like I give an example. In my business, there's a cost and then there's a monthly fee, right? And so let's say deep down inside, you're like, man, that monthly kind of high though, bro. So now when you're out doing presentations and somebody says, hey, I can get started, but it's the monthly fee that's the high part. You like inside, you're like, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? You don't say that out loud,
right.
But you like,
but yeah, like I don't know how they got me.
Yeah, like man, I'm thinking about I was trying to get you, so I had to pay. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you believe that inside, that's a challenge. What I do now, first thing I did was when I got started, I said, okay, how much does it cost to learn how to trade Forex? And I saw it was $30,000. I saw it was $50,000 and $20,000 that people pay. So then I'm like, a couple $100. Yeah, you gonna pay this, bro?
Right.
I was we were doing a training. Matter of fact, Donnie was there, and a guy was delivering pizza, and he was like, "Yo, y'all trading Forex?" Like, yeah. He was like, I was like, "How much your course cost?" He was like, $15,000, but I'm delivering pizzas while I'm going through the course because eventually I'm not gonna have to do it no more. I looked at everybody. He was like, "How much our course cost?" I was like, "Bro, you don't even want to know." You know what I'm saying? But I think from a sales standpoint, first thing you got to do is you got to believe and have confidence in your product first, because sometimes people discount stuff because they ain't got no confidence. Like, all right, man, all right, you take 50%. You know what I'm saying? You start negotiating with them instead of them coming to you. The other thing is just really communicating with people, like communicating for them instead of for yourself. I used to do that all the time, like point out all the stuff I like, stuff I wanted, why you should want to do this. And I just learned, like, it's almost like, buying cars. Like, you go to the car, you don't try to pull somebody to a car.
Right.
Or what they looking at? All right, cool. What do you want? And even in my business, I've learned it's sales, but you're selling people on them.
Yeah.
Because, like, what I learned is once I sell you on you and you buy you can do anything. So part of my business is like, I just got to sell you on yourself. Don't buy into Justin. I'm not this great guy. You are. Yeah. You're the same. You're Justin 3 years ago. Yeah. All I gotta do is show you some of the things I learned. You do it. You can do it too. But with selling specifically, communication, learning how to talk to people from their perspective, not just your own. In my business, some people think, oh, people want to sign up just because of the money. Nah, everybody's not motivated by money. Yeah. Not everybody's motivated by a yacht party, or they don't want the fun. Not everybody's motivated. Like, some people just care about people. It ain't for them. Not everybody hate their job.
Right.
So if your whole presentation is, yo, you need to leave your job because your job sucks. Well, no, it doesn't. Maybe I like my job. I just want to find another avenue to help other people. Yeah.
Or find some culture. Or develop personally. Or find leadership.
Bro, I know people that just pay for network marketing just to be around the people. Yeah. They're like, yo, this is like a social club for me. And I don't mind paying because it's a write-off. But there was a time I didn't get that. And I'm like, yo, but you don't want to go make $100,000 a month. No, bro. I just want to. I want to come. Invite some people. Right. But I would definitely say, like, invest into learning communication, personality types. Those two things. When I really understood that, I made a lot more money. And then confidence in myself. Bob Johnson had matter of fact, me and David were in LA All-Star Weekend. And we ran across him, and we asked him, like, if there was one tip that you could give a person, what would it be? And he said, first thing is you got to believe in yourself. You got to get as many people around you to believe in you.
Say it one more time.
You got to believe in yourself first, and then you got to get as many people around you to believe in you. So the same thing about your product. You got to believe in it first. Right. Then you got to get as many people around that product to believe in it. And if you do that, you'll always make money. Typically, a person that's having a hard time selling, they really don't believe that joint.
Yeah.
And it goes back to belief.
For sure.
But you got to have confidence in it. You got to have belief in it. And if once you do that and you can start proving it, it really becomes kind of simple.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, so what about somebody that's like super, like how do you get them to believe? You know what I mean? Because it's one thing to say, yo, you got to believe in you. But somebody that's been through drama, traumatic situations, they've always lived with this self-doubt.
Yeah. I just try to find examples of other people that have done it. You know, sometimes if you can't find the inspiration from yourself, you got to find another place. Like, I'll tell you one of the things that inspired me from a sales standpoint is like, I look at things that were harder to sell. Like, you know, some people don't remember like fax machines, but imagine if we were the first people to sell fax machines and I get you to buy. You're like, okay, cool, what do I do with it?
Who else got one?
Give me a couple weeks. The next guy that I sell, you better fax him. And then, but you got to think about it. Somebody really had to sell somebody on that. Right. Like, I'm going to sell it to you. My cousin got one, so y'all don't really know each other, but y'all can send people, y'all can send stuff, and then I'm going to sell it to this guy in New York.
Right.
But that's a lot harder than some of the stuff that we're doing. So what I've done is I look at other things. If I don't have the belief, I say, okay, what were some things that was harder? What were some people that had tougher situations and they got out of it? Because we've all had tough spots in our life. But it's like, yo, somebody else has done it worse. Why not you?
Yeah.
And then once you get that and you stop getting caught up in like what's happening now, I think that's really what's tough for people is like because you're so concerned about the right now that you're not just focusing on like, I think entrepreneurship is like a college. Yeah. I didn't go to college, so
for sure.
For me, it's like college. And so people that go to college, you're not taking classes like, oh my God, I'm not making money today. Oh my goodness, I don't have my degree yet. Right. You're like, nah, 4 years. And when I get done with this 4 years, then I'll go do it. If more people looked at entrepreneurship like, hey, let me give this thing 4 years of just learning the skill, taking the classes. Now, the cool thing about entrepreneurship is you don't have to wait until the end when you graduate to actually make some money. You could be making it year 1, year 2. You could blow up year 3, and that's your degree.
Yeah.
But what most people do, 2 months. Oh, man, I've been posting, man. I ain't getting no likes. Bro,
right.
Go back to David's stuff 4 years ago. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Look at your social media. Look at my social media 4 years. It was totally different. Yeah. But you know what? You didn't see that. You just walked on today and you think, oh, it was just sweet from day one.
100%.
Nah. You went. How many days were you at the mall selling by yourself?
What?
How many people did you talk to? How many people did you get told no by? So it's like, but they don't get those reps. They don't see that, but they also don't want to go through it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, you gotta go through that process. But if you look at this thing like school, and like, hey, instead of me paying a tuition, I'm just paying it in time. Yeah. And maybe you got to take some courses. Maybe you got to invest in some books and stuff like that. But treat it like college. It'll pay you much, much better than the people that have.
Yeah. Have you experienced like just going through like the success and being on the stage and having this unquenchable belief in yourself? Do you ever get the feeling that it errs sometimes on the side of arrogance? Is that something that you have to like kill every day, or you just don't experience, or?
I think you can, but you can't really change how people perceive you. Because a lot of times how people perceive you is not really you, it's really how they perceive themselves. Yeah. Now, there are people that are arrogant and egotistical.
For sure, 100%.
For sure, because I've worked with them.
And me personally, as I progress in my career, it's something that I have to like kill every day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I have to, because it can creep up on you. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think what helps me is I'm still serving though, bro.
Yeah.
Like my mentor, even today, I'll come in, I grab his bag. I was doing that when I didn't have no money. So like it still show you like, no, bro. I got that. Don't worry about it.
Do you expect other people to grab your bag sometimes?
No, because see, the thing is, I'm not doing it for other people to do it to me. That's what a lot of people do. A lot of people, it's almost like the person that say I love you just so they say I love you, not because they really trying to say it. They just want to hear it back. So they say I love you so you can say I love you back.
Right.
There's people that serve just hoping like, yo, man, you ain't see nobody else grab my bags, man. Right. I'm grabbing his bag, you grab it. No, I'm not doing it for that. Yeah. I'm not doing it for, when I go out with my dinner with my mentor, I still pay. Sometimes when it's other people, I just pay. I'm like, but I'm not doing it so somebody else will be like, oh, nope, Justin, I got this one.
Right.
I'm doing it because that's the kind of stuff that got me here.
Yeah,
and so you can't stop it.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's still serving. And it's just staying humble. You know, I tell people when you're on the bottom, stay hungry, and you're at the top, stay humble. Because you realize, hey, the shift, it can happen fast, but it can also unshift the other way, and it can happen fast the opposite way. And 100%. I've seen it happen to other people. Like, we've seen people even in the industry, like, yo, you know, $300,000 a month. You be like, yo, my man, what happened? A lot of it's they lost touch with people. So that's what I try to do. I still try to stay in the trenches with people so I don't forget how it feels. Sure. Although I don't struggle with like paying for a bill now, don't get it twisted. I don't forget how it feels. Yeah. You know, like one of the guys that just got started my business a couple months ago, he knew me when I didn't have no money. And he was like, Justin, I remember, bro, when you were younger and we went to lunch and you was like, man, I can afford the meal, but the taxes would have killed me. You know what I'm saying? And I've been in that situation where like, yo, I can afford the $5.99, right, but after y'all add that 36 cents to it, I'm out. You know, and so I don't forget it. I don't forget me and my brother rolling up to the gas station and playing with pennies, and I'm like, yo, you got to go. I drove, you got to pay, and I'm like, I go up there, hey, $5 on pump 3. So if you don't forget those moments, I remember, you know, having to move back my parents for a couple months and like trying to figure stuff out. So I don't forget that. Yeah. But at the same time, because I don't forget that, I don't let people use that as excuses. Because I've had people say, oh man, you could do that now. Because you're like, no, let's not play that game. Because I've actually been worse than where you are. For sure.
So I also seen people like pride themselves in being humble. You feel me? Right. And it's like,
it's a fake humble though.
Exactly. So that's why, that's, I think one of the trickiest things that the enemy throws our way is arrogance, man. And it's such a fine line that you don't want to play with. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because you can go overboard, or you find yourself talking to people crazy, like, okay, you see me serving, and you're trying to teach somebody else a lesson, and you feel like you're better than them because you don't have the heart to serve. Right. You feel me? So I think it's something that everybody really needs to take super seriously.
Yeah, you do. You know what I mean? Yeah, and you know, I from a spiritual standpoint, Jesus is a good example of that, man. You know what I'm saying? He got, and I'm not saying that you have to be Christian or whatever, but it's like the story of itself has good principles in it, and it's like, man, look. He getting tempted, man. Yo, turn this joint into a bread. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you know, like, you can do it.
Me, I be like, look. You know what I'm saying? Hey, don't play with me no more. You know what I'm saying? Hey, all right, throw yourself down and say, listen, bro. You want me to close my eyes? What you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, but when you got humility, like, no, I don't have to do that. Yeah. If I'm not doing this, and that's really the essence of it. I'm not doing this for you. Yeah. I'm not trying to prove something to you. Yeah. It's like, yo, no, if I'm gonna do this, it's because I'm gonna do this for a purpose. Yeah. And if you can stay there and not make it about you, but make it about other people, and humility, bro, I've seen in a lot of different situations. It's not even just in acts of like stuff like, I've seen some people not even humble enough to ask a question. You know, because they want to be seen. Like I have a training call.
Oh my gosh.
I have a training call with the whole team. Anybody else got any questions? And then I get off the call. Hey, got a question for you. I ain't want to ask in front of everybody. No. We're not doing that.
Because they're a leader. Yeah.
Because you don't want to seem like you don't got it together. No, you got to be humble. Or well, I'm not asking this question for myself. I'm really asking for everybody else that's here. Bro, if you don't ask that question, because all that's showing is a lack of humility. Just ask the question. Gotcha. Ask the question. It's okay not to know. It's okay. And so sometimes we say it when you make it up high, but sometimes you can catch it in the middle too. And it's like, or like, man, bro, look, I've been in events where people are like, hey, the first person to come up here and get this $20, and you're gonna run too fast, but like, you really need that 20. You know, yo, I need to run right now, but I can't. You know, so I think there's obviously a balance to confidence, because I believe every entrepreneur, you got to have a certain level of confidence in yourself and your faith and whatever you're doing to succeed. You just can't let it, you know, like you said, tip over into that the arrogance. I like, okay, you know what? I don't need none of y'all. Right. You do need some people, you know, so.
Man, that's awesome. I will say that you are probably one of the most genuine people I've ever met.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro.
Like, you've been the same way since I met you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Ambitious, but not arrogant. Yeah. You know what I mean? And just a great leader. Just, I really admire just the way you move.
Thanks,
you know what I mean? So, all right. So we've been here for some time, but I like to make predictions on the podcast. Okay. I want to know where you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years, right? So that I can watch this video and say, yo, Justin actually did it. I got the video. He said it 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So what do you see for yourself in the next 5 years?
You know, I just had a conversation with somebody the other day. 5 years is interesting for me to look at because like even 2020, I didn't know this was gonna happen.
Who knew?
You know, so it's like I can make some stuff. I know what I would like to have happen, like, you know, my parents, retiring them fully, you know, like house paid off, car paid off. That's definitely something that's got to get done. And really using this time to really position my family. Like I heard Rick Ross talk about, as you start making money, your job is not to like give money to your family, but it's position them so they can have their own. So now what I'm doing, like with my brother and my sister and my cousin, like it's just like, yo, I want to position you so you can create your own and do your own thing. And then for myself, is like eventually, like from a speaking standpoint, I want to be able to have more impact there for sure, because I think that's just something I really, really enjoy doing. That's why I like network marketing. That's why I like sales, because it was ability for me to use my voice and my appearance and my personality to be able to impact people. So I would definitely like to scale that. But that's really it, bro. Just being able to use my platform, my voice, and my personality, my appearance to be able to impact more people. You know, income wise, listen, a lot more than now. You know what I'm saying? But it's what has got me here hasn't been focusing on myself. It's always been everybody else, because what I realize is for me to accomplish a lot of those things that I just said, I got to become more to be able to do that. Yeah. And so when I focus on that, anytime I put the focus on just me and what I'm gonna do, you know, I don't know. But listen, the clothing line should be everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, the message really connects with a lot of people. And that's it, bro.
Yeah, you know what? And I want to touch on it, like you said, you know, just kind of getting into that speaker space is there's almost like the, you know, you have battle rappers, and it seems like battle rappers can't really get in the mainstream, right? And you have this thing in the MLM industry, like where people don't want to necessarily claim the industry because it's tougher to get into that notoriety space. I've seen one person do it really well, which is Jim Rohn, right? He come from network marketing, then look at him, biggest speaker in the world. Like, do you ever think about that? Not think about it, but it's a thing, right?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. It's a thing. I think for me, because I'm like, I've done entrepreneurship on both sides, you know, so I think I haven't got worried about it, because like I don't brand myself as just a network marketer, because I do, you know, I've got other businesses and stuff like that I do. I really believe in like teaching people entrepreneurship. I do believe this is the best way for a person to get in, for the average person.
100%.
It really is, because I mean, by the time you get into a lease and all this, you need to make sure you're really made for this, you know, because everybody's not made for entrepreneurship. Some people just made to work inside of a great company. You can still have a great life, but you know, I think you can get locked into that if you become a career network marketer. Not that there's a problem with that either, but if you do the right things with your money, you're investing it the right way, you have the right people around you, I think you can evolve into something much more. For sure. And not that there's anything wrong with this, but I think you can definitely do that. But again, it just goes to being confident in who you are. I think, you know, the old school version of network marketing versus how it is now, it's a totally different perspective of it. But yeah, you can, you know, but that's anything, you know, I try not to worry about it, because it's like an actor. They can get like, you know, locked into just being a funny role, or you're just the corny guy. Like, yo, nah, I could do some other things. Like I can sing too, I can dance, I can. And so I think what you have to do is you got to get really good at something else, and then allow those other things to come into place. Like, you know, even my clothing line, I've had it for a long time, but I didn't put a lot of energy on it, because I was like, yo, let me get really, really good at something, build a platform. And then now, bro, we move a lot more stuff, and it's not because just the message is so good. It's like, okay, the platform has grown.
Gotcha.
And so I just tell people, like, wherever you are, build that out, and that will get you ready for the next thing. Science is Getting Rich talks about that all the time. It's like you don't have to do more than what you don't have to overwork. But wherever environment that you're in, even if it's a job you don't like, a house you don't like, whatever it is, a car you don't like, you gotta treat it the best way, because that'll get you the opportunities. The opposite way, it ain't gonna get it for you. So I'm like, yo, I'm here now. I'm gonna do the best I can do with this opportunity, and then whatever else happens in the future, just being prepared with it financially, skill set standpoint, and then having the right relationships.
Yeah, if anybody can do it, I think you can, because you got that, you got the charisma, your humor, and the ability to take a tough subject and break it down to where people can really get it and spoon feed it to somebody who maybe they're not seasoned entrepreneurs. So I think if anybody can like really become like this all around entrepreneur and have multiple streams and build a brand, it's definitely you.
Thanks,
so,
bro.
yeah,
and I'll say, bro, I appreciate you, man, because like you've been consistent, like just not just like in like business, but just as a person, like even like your content, like that's one of the things maybe step up on my stuff. I'm like, this dude was posting stuff all the time. Like, but it's consistency in areas like that make people trust people too. Like, yo, he's always like, I know I can always come Dave page. There's gonna be some content that I miss because it's because you posting all the time. But it's not just that, like, the e-complex. You didn't just set it up and it's gone 6 months later. Like, you really invested into this thing. Like, you really built it out. And I think what more people have to do is really invest into stuff like you have. You know what I'm saying? From relationships. I don't judge a person by what they're doing. Also, I look at how many people are still around you from years ago.
Yeah.
Not that everybody has to be around you, but if you don't have nobody from your past, that's a problem.
Right.
It really
like
that.
Sure.
Like at a certain point, you gotta be like, yo, nobody stay with the man.
Yeah.
Like nobody. Like a lot of times, that's a personality flaw. And so now I appreciate everything that you've done. Even like stuff like this podcast. Is that what we call this podcast?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
This podcast is really teaching people like free game from dope people. Like I'm like, okay, yeah, solid person. Okay, good. And it's different people in a different format, and you're not afraid to be yourself. Like even if people don't like the crunching in Doritos, you're gonna, what I'm saying? Like you just you do you. And you created the lane. Like nobody can do this the way that you do it.
Appreciate it.
And that's a gift, bro. So
welcome to the Social Proof alumni.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Finally made it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, look,
you
man,
finally made it.
Make sure y'all follow my boy. Let them know how they can get in touch with you. How they can like partner up with you as well.
Yeah. So my Instagram is New Age CEO, NEWAGE CEO. And then the website for the clothing line is New Age CEOs with the S.com. So you can get all the gear and apparel. And then my website is justinmowens.com. So you guys can connect with me there, ask questions, get feedback. And we're teaching people the game about just not just investing into foreign exchange and digital currency, but like really how to grow wealth with it. Like, I don't know if you saw it, bro, like even PayPal, like the reason Bitcoin just went over 13,000, PayPal just announced they're going to allow people to start buying and selling on their platform. Ooh. That was like a couple, like last Wednesday or Thursday. So now,
I noticed a jump in that joint.
Yeah.
But I thought it was just a regular thing because Bitcoin specifically, it just goes up and down and up and down.
Well, here's what happened, bro, and is like when it took off the first time, the big places, the big banks and stuff didn't think it was the real deal.
What was the highest it went to?
19,000 and some change.
19, gotcha.
But now you look at it, it pulled all the way back. Like in January, bro, it was in March when the market crashed, it was 3,800 a coin.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm. Now it's 13,000 and some change. Yeah. Just this year. The year ain't even over with yet. Right. But now you got companies that now position themselves. So JP Morgan and Chase was saying, oh, it's a scam, don't touch it. Now they got their own. Mm-hmm. Bank of America. The United States have come out with their own digital currency. Facebook is working on their own. So now PayPal, all these companies, Cash App, getting in the game, getting into it. Now it's like, okay, now it can take off.
Right.
We had to take it down a little bit. Y'all was getting a little too hyped. Let us get the infrastructure together. Now it can run off. So I'm just telling more people I'm not saying you got to do it. I would say get educated on it because at least then you can say, I made a decision on whether this makes sense or not. You know, because what a lot of us do sometimes, we say, because I don't understand it, I'm not going to do it. But how many times do we see that? People didn't understand the .com era. Yeah. Oh, that's just not going to. Then what happened? Yeah. Should have did it. You know what I'm saying?
Computer Social on media. My wrist.
Social media. People don't understand. Oh, it's not going to be. Now what? You know, so I think you got to like at least get in tune with the understanding. I'm not saying everybody has to do it, but understand it and see if it's an opportunity for you. So that's what we teach people, how to take advantage of that. Plus, you know, just investing, which is an important thing for everybody. I tell people if you're not saving, if you're not investing, you have a 0% chance to create wealth.
Facts.
So you got to do one of both or all of them, And I never met a person with money that said I don't want to learn more about how to make it.
Yeah.
So,
That's real. Yeah. That's real. Well, JL, I appreciate you, my brother.
Appreciate you,
Make
bro.
sure y'all follow Mr. Justin Owens. If you're listening to this, go send him a DM on Instagram. Just tell him what you learned. Tell him that you appreciate him, okay? And this this podcast is always sponsored by The Morning Meetup, okay? The only group. Can I get you on the call?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, it'll be a Friday.
Okay.
If not this Friday, next Friday, you'll jump on? Check your schedule.
This Friday. What time y'all do it?
8 a.m.
Okay. Yeah, I can do this Friday.
Awesome. Yeah, we've had some amazing guests. You just never know who's going to jump on the call. So make sure you go to themorningmeetup.com. Check it out. Dope community of entrepreneurs from all across the world. I think this morning we had 150 people on the call this morning. Yeah, man. So it's absolutely amazing. So make sure you're a part of themorningmeetup.com. Follow my boy Justin Owens and go kill it. All right, we out of here. Peace.